Welcome, Achim. So just one simple question before I leave, and that's Italo just talked a lot about 55,000, and now we have the SAP experts up here. How do they relate?
Yep, and I will try to answer that question because, I mean, first of all, it's about the management layout of an asset management system, and then it's about the tools that support that, right?
Take it away, Achim.
Thank you. I hope you still recognize me, because haircut is a bit different than yesterday evening, so I think I lost some hair. Howsoever, I think it was a great party yesterday, and I'm really happy, you know, that we brought the community there, and I think we all had a lot of fun there. So, Mark gave us some insight in the relationship between goals and methodologies, and Italo also talked about what is the best decision support in order to balance cost, risk, and performance. And so I think it makes it very clear that when we talk about tools that support asset management strategy, it all starts with the respective processes that need to be supported. And Italo also mentioned John Hardwick from the Asset Management Council in Australia. And I'm using quite I love to use the models from the Asset Management Council. So let me start a little bit with the processes before we actually go into the SAP portfolio thing. The Asset Management Council in Australia, and their website is at the link there, so you can download this. There are nice videos around that as well, where this is maybe better explained than I can do it. But when we have a look on ISO 55001, and it's really about these four main pillars. When we talk about assets that should have a value, there is a need for alignment between the corporate objectives and what is going on the shop floor. You need leadership and culture in order to make all this happen. And of course, it's about the level of insurance. We talked a lot about risk and penalties as well when it comes to whatever kind of standstill of the system. All these goals here are, of course, then embedded into a continuous series of plan, do, check, act cycles. And all this, of course, embedded into a stakeholders environment. So when we then go more into how these capabilities finally are being delivered, then you can really make it a bigger model. And the reason why I'm showing this is that it all starts, of course, with an analysis. What is the asset management system that I actually need in order to fulfill a certain objective? And that can even be, like you can see on the screen, that after having done a needs analysis and demand analysis, you come to the point, it's not an asset solution that might resolve the issue, right? So it really starts very first in the process. But when you then go for an asset-based solution, then it's about engineering that system, and then of course acquire the respective assets and then operate and maintain them. And a lot of these things, of course, are being determined long before an asset actually makes its way into operation. But that also means that at the end of the day, it's about bridging the silos. It's about bridging the silos within an organization, but it's also bridging the silos alongside the asset lifecycle. And that is a lot about sharing information. And I think that is the biggest relationship between when we talk about what are the processes and the people that are involved with the processes and the systems that support that. It's obviously still a lot about, you know, just out-of-the-box transactional functionality, creating maintenance notifications and all these things. But it's, I think, even more that you have access to the information. Italo mentioned this asset book, right? Everybody should really have the same basis of information, and that, of course, requires today, not only like in the good old times with R3, that you bring together materials management, HR, and cost accounting, financials, and then plant maintenance, but you also include data that comes in from the assets, like data from the drones that fly over the reservoirs and take the condition of the reservoirs. And that needs to be combined, of course, with the business data that you have in a system. So when we talk about what is asset management all about and reflect this a bit, then I think it's quite important that we say asset management is a management discipline. It's about defining how to set up, operate a system of assets. So when we talk about an asset management system, and there were a lot of debates when ISO 55000 came up in terms of terminology, effectively it's an asset management system, right? And the asset management system, in a sense of an IT system, is just there to enable it. So it all starts with setting up a management system, and then we can talk about enterprise asset management as an IT solution portfolio to enable to take the right decisions about cost, risk, and performance. We've done a white paper on ISO 55001. Carsten Hauschild, who is also attending the conference, was the leading colleague who made this happen. And you can download this from the SAP.com website /EAM if you want to go into more detail on what we think the relationship is. But let me start also a little bit with the question, what are the areas that you have to take into regard when we talk about what needs to be supported? This is from the homepage of the Global Forum on Maintenance and Asset Management, and that is what they call the asset management landscapes. And these are the areas really starting from strategy and planning, setting up policies, then the decision-making on CAPEX, OPEX, lifecycle delivery, which of course concludes things like configuration management, maintenance delivery, and so on. A lot around asset information. We talked already about asset intelligence network. That might be something that can support here. But also in the areas of organization and people, and then, of course, dealing with risk as well. And all of these areas, at the end of the day, need to be supported by respective information technology, and more importantly, need to be integrated in a way that wherever you have connecting points, these need to be established in the system as well. So now we could talk about a lot of other buzzwords or products from SAP, and I think many of these have been mentioned in a variety of presentations here. And I only want to grab one or two here. Don't want to go into too much detail about what you can do in environment, health, and safety, what you can do with things like work clearance management, because I mean this is a lot of transactional functionality in here that supports a very specific process. But let me elaborate a little bit more on what is the idea about S/4HANA here. As said, within the good old times with R3, the modules were already integrated. Today, with systems based on HANA, we can include more information from the operational technologies and combine this, merge this with the business data. And then even more importantly, you can plan and simulate because you can change the perspective on this data. In S/4HANA, we don't have any aggregates anymore, so there is, just to make that example once more again, the total on a cost center is no longer stored somewhere. It's calculated on the fly. So in case you have an idea about changing your cost center structure, it's just another view on the same raw data. And now think about what that means for maintenance. And we talk about a different maintenance strategy. What we are aiming at here is really that you just change some parameters in the system and you can simulate the outcome. And that is, at the end of the day, of course, to support the respective business goals. But finally, it's not about the different products in here in a sense of technical IT solutions. It's about bridging the silos and really integrating all lines of business. And Italo made that great example, talking about a financial plan, talking about a commercial plan, talking about an asset management plan. And these need to be integrated. So really, when we talk about the complete product and asset lifecycle, it of course starts with some products, for example, in discrete industries that need to be developed. And then we need to make happen that these products are getting manufactured or production is actually happening. And in that regard, of course, we have to plan for the respective asset portfolios, and we have to set up projects, whether it's on a greenfield or a brownfield approach, in order to set the system up in a way that the goals can be met. Then it's about asset management in a more narrow sense, where we talk about asset operations and maintenance. So talking about what is the best maintenance strategy here, how do I plan and schedule the respective activities in the light of the available resources, how do I best prioritize my maintenance activities, then doing the execution piece, of course, today with a lot of involvement of mobile devices. And all this in a very, very close collaboration with what is going on the risk side in a sense of environment, health, and safety. So talking incidents, talking risk assessment and stuff like this. And then, of course, sharing information not only inside the company, but also with other contributors to the asset lifecycle. And then even more when we broaden the range and talk about sustainability here, the other side of EH&S is product safety and stewardship, and then of course all this corporate sustainability and reporting. And finally, we should not forget, we had that with the reservoirs as well, this is somehow about land use, this could be about real estate, this is also about the facilities where production equipment is located at the end of the day. And again, I cannot go into each and every of these boxes here, and maybe it might be even hard to read from the back. All these processes that need to be integrated and are integrated in an SAP portfolio are described in more detail on our website as well. So if you go to sap.com/solution explorer, you will find all of these things in a very, very interactive manner. You can drill down to the respective products, and you get much more information about those. But my main message here is when we talk about ISO 55000, then it's really about bridging the silos, it's about bringing the information together, integrating the respective solutions, and that is effectively what is happening in our portfolio. And to give you some ideas about that, here in the middle we do have the main pillars of asset management, so asset operations and maintenance, EH&S, and the asset network. And just a couple of examples. I mean, when we talk about maintenance and operations, this needs to be synchronized. In case you want to maintain an asset, it needs to be taken out of operation potentially, right? So there needs to be a collaboration with the production schedule. Then, of course, maintenance can be linked to quality. Could be that the bad quality of a product is linked to something being wrong on the maintenance side. So again, information to be shared. Or of course, when we talk about data that comes from PLM but can be used in asset management, so a lot of information that you need to know about an asset comes, of course, from the manufacturer of that asset or from the guys that set up the respective production line. Information you can use on the maintenance side. Then, of course, when we talk about getting more insight on production performance, on availability of spare parts, this has a lot to do with asset management as well, right? So there are a lot of integration points here. We talked already about the handover between project and operations, right? Going on more and more, and we talked yesterday about all the information that needs to be brought over into the asset management space. Can also be that when we talk about big shutdowns, STO, shutdown turnaround outages, a lot of alignment needed between the people that at the end of the day do the maintenance and the manufacturing operations as well. And there are more examples here, so I save a little bit on time and not going into the respective areas. But if you have a look into the SAP portfolio, you will find that many of these integration points are being supported already. And so I really encourage you, have a look over the fence, not only focus on your plant maintenance module, but have a look where else it is connected. And this is today far more than just the traditional modules. It's really a very, very enlarged space here. So very briefly, when we talk about these middle three pillars on asset management, what is our vision here? First of all, I think we learned throughout the conference that the data in the system is only as good as the people who maintain it, right? So, and that has a lot to do with user experience. If people don't like to work with the system, then the data in there will just be wrong. So we did a lot in the recent past, and again, I don't want to go into each and every area here. You can have a look in more detail on this when you go to the service marketplace and download our latest roadmap. We have a lot of text-based information in there as well, so that you can really get the essence of what we had in mind when going for a specific development. But I think we invested a lot in user experience in the past 6 years. And the other point is, when we talk about helping with the accuracy of master data. And there are, again, I gave a bit of a speech yesterday about that, talking about the various tools that can help you raise the accuracy of master data, that at the end will help you achieving the objectives of ISO 55001, because the data you are based on is just better. In that regard, sharing information is crucial, and I talked yesterday about the Asset Intelligence Network. So really sharing information about the models and equipment from a manufacturer's point of view, from a service provider's point of view, and from a operator's point of view. And last but not least, I think we talked a lot about predictive. So it's about making operational data available for insight to action. So really thinking about what is the current status of the equipment, how will it develop over time, and what is the best recommended activity in order to keep the things up and running in a way that the goals are best supported. And with this, I wish us another very beneficial day here at the conference. If you would like to speak about any of the things that have been mentioned here, either during the conference or later on, please address this to us, and we will make sure that you get connected to the right expert, or I hope so, in many, many cases, we can answer your question directly. Many thanks.